Buongiorno, good morning from the FIA Goodyear European Truck Racing Championship in day number 2 in Misano, Italy. Our first race weekend already started yesterday with a lot of excitement, and we can wait for qualifying number 2 of this weekend, which is about to get started pretty soon. But before we will head over to the trucks, letting you know everything that has been going on and that will be going on, I was like, I show you that there's merchandise going on as well. And in case you happen to come to one of the racetracks later on this year, there's a lot of stuff you might buy, you might bring home to your loved ones. Also, if I get to see you at the Truck Grand Prix, I was like, they bought even more, or they got even more stuff for this year. So I already tried to style my camera guy. You never know how you will find us later on. Bags, shirts, hats, whatever you call it. You can buy everything in case you're a fan of the European Truck Racing Championship. So I will walk over there and just leave everything that I did not buy right now, because we have one guy who really has not been lucky at all, talking about Stefan Faas, because he got a Freightliner. He brought a new truck. He had a very nice new setup and he was ready to show us how different he wants to start this race, but I don't think he was considering of not even making it to the qualifying, because there has been so much difficulty going on, so many technical problems that, yesterday he did not make it to the race. This morning they had like 3 laps, excuse me. And now look at that, it's a very lovely truck and you barely can see anything of it. Because again, they went out this morning, everything looked nice. They spent a lot of time fixing stuff. Everyone was confident that finally they will make it out there. And now again, a lot of work is happening and the chef himself also is working on the truck. I think they just want to get ready and get out there and finally start flying over the Misano racetrack and not just walk around with black and dirty hands. But it is what it is to have a new engine, totally new built truck. And this just shows there's barely any time to do some testing. So you have to deal with whatever you bring. And in this case, unfortunately, more work. Well, we have our lovely commentators in the house as well today. Jess Draycourt for everyone who's speaking English. Fonzie Sebran for everyone who is like a Spanish fan of the European Truck Racing Championship, and Joachim Eberts for the German audience. Guten Morgen. So I'm handing over, just looking at the guys' work a little more. Looks like they need one more hand just to get ready in time, and the qualifying is just about to get started. See you in a sec.
Thank you, Lena. Yes, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second race day here in the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Chaz Draycott here on commentary duties in the UK with Joachim Eberts on the German stream and Fonzie Sebrian on the Spanish stream as well. And I'm sure that with Lena's mechanical background, she will not be, she'll be working hard to not get involved in whatever it will be that Stefan Faas and the team need to replace. And I know what mechanics are like. You all want to fix just about everything. It's all about the fettling, isn't it? But it's a very interesting thing to see when the Freightliners have been worked on like that. Instead of the cab leaning ever so slightly forward or anything, it leans backwards on itself because the engine is so much further forward. Here is the circuit that we're racing at this weekend, the wonderful Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. It's been open for over 50 years, this place, and it's quite the technical challenge for our trucks. Lots of heavy braking zones here, so brake temperature so important. It is one of the most pivotal things in truck racing, is to have decent brake temperatures and obviously not overdo it on those humongous discs. But it's been good weather so far, except for in the second half of yesterday's second race, where it suddenly absolutely bucketed it down and we had to red flag the race very, very quickly before everybody started sliding off into the scenery. But much like yesterday morning, it looks like a beautiful day in Italy. And there is barely a cloud in the sky, and a very packed paddock as well. Misano is always one of the best places that we go racing. There's so many show trucks, so many people involved, and everybody really does celebrate this race meeting, and especially as a season opener. It's a hell of a lot of good fun. And we are grateful to have you with us wherever you may be around the world here today, watching on the live stream. or of course whether you're watching this back and you were somebody that attended on the weekend as well. We hope you had a fantastic time and hope you are doing while we're doing this live broadcast. This, of course, is the qualifying broadcast, so we have qualifying 1, which will be a 15-minute session with all of our trucks out on circuit, hopefully a full complement of 17 this morning, because Stefan Faas had issues yesterday that stopped him going out in qualifying, much like Norbert Kish did, but then Stefan had issues during race 1 as well. That then sidelined him for race 2. Now they've come back out in warm-up this morning and had another problem. Seems to be never-ending. Let's go back down into the paddock, though, and see what Lena's up to.
Yeah, qualifying is just about to get started, and here is the current European champion, Norbert Kish, 6-time European champion, followed by Jochen Hahn, also 6-time European champion, and guess what? They're battling out this year. Who in history is going to be the first time 7-time European champion? But there are also others who are eager to make some titles. Also talking about Steffi Heim, who's just entering the field now. We already said yesterday she will earn her golden elbows over here because she really had done some nice driving, defending herself in the line. Also when Norbert Kish was flying in from the rear, trying to take over everyone. She didn't make it easy for him. So let's see. See, there are so many fans. Who else is there? Turn around. This is Balu Senior. It's the old truck from Norbert Kish and René Reinhardt. He decided to come back to the European Racing Championship. He bought the old truck. He also made sure to stay in front yesterday. Really nice job of him. He just came back after 3 years of a break, and he didn't fail at all. I think he became 5th or something like that. Really, really nice. I hope we get to speak to him later on as well. So they're getting ready for qualifying. So Balu Senior and Balu Junior are both out on the track in a sec.
Thank you, Lena. Yeah, it's great to see just how compressed the paddock can be sometimes, and you get a real idea at how huge these racing machines are when you see them make their way out onto the circuit between all of the fans and personnel of the teams. It's a great sight to see. Lovely, lovely conditions, though, to go racing today in Italy. And it is certainly great to have René Reinhardt back in the field again. He's a lovely character to have. He's been in truck racing for quite a while. He's one of the Titan drivers as well, as he has got quite the successful background in racing. He's 5th in the championship after day 1 on 13 points, only 1 point behind Sasha Lenz. And he's ahead of the likes of Antonio Albacete and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well. In the Chrome Championship at the moment, it's Bradley Smith that leads the way. He's on 24 points, with Jonathan Andre on 22, Mark Taylor on 20, so just 4 points between the top 3. Mark Taylor a little bit gutted after yesterday. I had a quick chat with him on Facebook in the afternoon, and he was saying that they were obviously devastated at the issue. Don't know where it came from. It could have been anything. It seemed like one of those things that just happened on its own, but he's saying at the end of the day, there is always they're always today, basically, so they can come back to fight again. Apparently the issue with Stefan Faas' truck was the turbo exploded during the warm-up session. Loads of smoke, which would have been caused by any waste oil that was subject to any sort of hot surfaces or basically ejected from the engine. That's what they're working on at the moment. So, yeah, we should hopefully see them back out. How's he touch, Sunshine? It's always a great circuit, though, to see all the spectators, is Misano. It's one of those tracks where no matter where you are around the circuit watching, everybody can always see quite a lot of the track. It's a great, great spectator venue. I've had the absolute pleasure and the, well, what would you call it? Just the pleasure of being there, basically. A few times in recent memory with different commentary over different championships and events. And that location there, actually, just out of the final sector, is one of the best places to go watching. Such a heavy braking zone into effectively a hairpin. Loads of overtaking going on down there. As we've got a truck going the wrong way down the pit lane, which is intriguing. I think there's some of the show trucks making their way back in that have been around. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from yesterday's racing, shall we? And see just how it unfolded to get to where we are now. It was a beautiful and shiny sunny morning as we have today, and everybody was highly anticipating the first races of the weekend. We had qualifying, and It was a very interesting one with Norbert Kish not going out on circuit. Jochen Hahn would eventually take pole position with Antonio Albacete alongside him. A lot of drivers in new trucks, new teams, new liveries as well, all making their first impressions for the 2025 season. The sun was shining and everybody was excited for the very first race of 2025. There were a few teams with some slight technical issues that were hoping to get them sorted before we went to green flag racing, and they certainly did. Interesting bit of controversy between Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete at the very first corner would eventually lead to a 5-second penalty for Jochen Hahn. He would lose out to Norbert Kish, who was on an absolute storm through the field in the new Baloo Junior truck that they have for this year. He was consistently gaining place after place after place. Steffi Halm put up a great defence, as we've seen her do so many times before, and the battle in the Chrome class was great as well. Andrei Kurzim was watching from the sidelines as some of his old teammates in trucks were fighting on, and they were all enjoying themselves out there. Jonathan Andre coming home in third place to Bradley Smith, and of course the winner in the Chrome class in race 1 was Mark Taylor. Antonio Albacete was not too chuffed after the damage that he sustained in the second race, the start of the second race with Mark Taylor. A poor start from René Reiner dropped him back down the order, but the battles were fierce in the Chrome class once again. Sasha Lenz had the lead early on after taking it from Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, but Norbert Kish once again stormed through as Jochen Hahn got up to second place, Sasha Lenz got up to third, and then the heavens opened here at Misano. Look at the rain, and within half a lap they had to stop the race because it was simply too treacherous for them to continue. The Goodyear tyres certainly are really good at managing the wet conditions as well as the dry, but even then it was a little bit too sudden for everybody to manage. This means, though, that the drivers were cut short a few laps on Saturday, so they are very, very excited to get back underway today. Norbert Kish, happy after not being out in qualifying, a great recovery drive for him to get 2 victories on the day once again. Sasha Lenz not too pleased with his pace so far this weekend, but I know that he'll be quite happy to have gotten a podium in yesterday's second race. He said himself that he wasn't quite on the pace enough to be fighting right at the sharp end, and they hope that they can dial it in. There's the new pit building here at Misano. Lovely, lovely building. Like I said yesterday, it was almost looked like a roller coaster had been built on the side of it, as you can see there. But there's a lot of fantastic spots up there for sponsors and partners and all sorts of corporate events to take place while these races are on. There is Andrei Kurzim, who I mentioned just a moment ago. He's with the T-Sport Burnhouse squad this weekend. There's Jose Rodriguez as well, father of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in their team. There's May Fisher having a good old chat with some of the teams. And spectators preparing to feast their eyes on the action taking place here at Misano once again. Everybody taking their seats. Down in the drinks by the look of it as well. And then Norbert Kish in number 1. In position number 1, truck number 1, preparing to exit the pit lane when the green flag flies. Or the green light comes on, at least. 1 more minute until we get underway here. It will start at 10:50 a.m. local time, 9:50 here in the UK. And they will go out in this session in Champion. But it's Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm, Sasha Lenz, René Reiner, Antonio Albacete and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Then it'll be Bradley Smith, Jonathan Andre, Mark Taylor, Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Louis Riquenco. We have the first session that's 15 minutes long. All of our trucks out on the circuit for this. And then we whittle that down to 12 trucks for qualifying 2, which is just a 10-minute session. And then we head into qualifying 3, just 6 trucks there, with 5 minutes, and a lot of the time we only see the drivers doing 1 individual lap during that Q3 session. It gets very exciting. Green light is on and the green flag flies, and Norbert Kish sets off to begin his outlap, followed by Jochen Hahn and then Steffi Halm. Top 2 in the field have 12 titles between them It's absolutely awesome. Such decorated drivers in the world of truck racing. Norbert Kish on the form that he's been on, looking to take his 7th title, to become the first driver ever to do that. Jochen Hahn has been on the brink of doing that for a while now, but just hasn't been able to match Norby in the last couple of years, unfortunately. But one of the best things about that has been the amount of respect that you can see from one another in that amazing battle. You know, they both know the other driver is so talented and so quick. They always have nice things to say about each other in the interviews that we do. And it's really, really great. There was a lovely scene at the end of last year when, I believe it was at Le Mans, when Norbert Kish won the championship title. Jochen Hahn in Parc Fermé walked over to him and almost down on one knee sort of bowed to him as if to say congratulations and you know, sort of welcome to the club of 6 titles. It was a lovely, lovely moment. We've seen it a few times before as well, where they'd have a battle in race 2, for example, and come into the pits afterwards and you'd see them sort of having a joke and a laugh about it. Everybody now heading out onto the circuit, though, to start their sessions. And in these lovely conditions here this morning, you'd imagine that there is not much to be done in the way of getting temperature into tyres and into brakes and so on. They take quite a slow out lap to make sure that everything is in the right operating window, operating temperatures, and then they will crack on with their flying laps. A lot of the drivers near the front end of the order will probably just set one lap here that guarantees them a spot in the top 12 to go through into qualifying 2. And once that's done, they will then return into the pits. Everybody making their way around then to start their first flying laps of the day. Not much daylight between Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kish there at the front of the order. There's usually a little bit more space than that. Steffi Halm quite close as well. You don't really want to benefit from any slipstream or anything here in truck racing because you are governed to 100 miles an hour or 160 kilometers an hour. It's controlled and tracked via GPS. So you don't want to exceed that speed, and at the end of the day, if you are in the slipstream of the truck in front, then you are simply just ingesting hot air into the engine where you didn't want it. These trucks are such high tolerance machines, but they really do need clean and cool air to be pumped into them, and in the brakes as well. There's René Reinert making his way through. Antonio Albacetti in that gorgeous number 23 T-Sport Bernau machine. He's hoping for a much better day today. He got 10 points in the first race, but he's going to be certainly ruining the fact that he got no points from the second race after that contact with Mark Taylor took him out of the race early on with a puncture and big damage to the front right. The team will be very pleased, though. Certainly looking like a beautiful morning in Italy, though, isn't it? I was going to say, sorry, the team would be pleased to have at least been back out here, and they know what they're doing. Do T-Sport Bernau. They'll have been pleased that they've been able to fix it and get back out on the circuit. Here they are into the hairpin for the first time. Look how tight that corner looks in these trucks, and it also shows you the height of those penalty markers as well. Those penalty markers aren't little bollards that come to about hip height. They are massive, massive things. Norbert Kish rounds the final corner then, all the way over to the right-hand side to set his first flying lap of the session, and it's a 2:01.8. That's a great lap by Norbert Kish. 0.3 of a second clear of Jochen Hahn. Steffi Halm next up on a 2:02.6. Where does René Reinert go? He goes fourth fastest, 2:03.4 for him. 1.6 seconds off. Albacetti goes third fastest. Rodriguez then moves up into fifth position. Bradley Smith goes seventh, 2.5 seconds off for Bradley, but that may get him through into Q2. Who's going to be next across the line? Mark Taylor goes fourth fastest, faster than Steffi Halm and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Clemens Hecker goes 9th. Jonathan Andre goes 10th. I think Jonathan Andre is getting his lap time deleted for track limits, and so is Luke Garrett in truck 42. Luke's just gone 10th quickest on the board there, so 2 of those times will be removed in due course. John Newell puts his time on the board, but it's only good enough for 13th. He then gets it deleted for track limits. Stefan Kirsch puts his time on the board. That now moves him to 13th. We wait to see now Christian Ruppert's lap time. Doesn't look like Stefan Faas has gone out there on the circuit. So yeah, Jonathan Andre, Luke Garrett and John Newell having their lap times deleted. They need to be in the top 12 to get through into Q2. They've got 8 minutes, nearly 9 minutes now to do that. Christian Ruppert still hasn't completed his first lap though. We had a little chat with him yesterday on the grid. Lovely, lovely gentleman though, a real character. It's great to have him in the paddock. There's John Newell moving out of the way of Stefan Kirsch, who I think is just trying to find a little bit more track space, let's say. He's just hoping to find that he can find some room to get a fast lap in. You can see Mark Taylor there, 4th fastest out of everybody. He'll be really pleased with that. He doesn't want to push anything further, really. There's no point taking any further risks for Mark. John Newell, though, will definitely want to push on ever further. Just wait now to see who else continues on lap times. So Jonathan Andre has continued on. John Newell has as well. It's basically going to be all of those outside of the top 12 that continue. Maybe, yeah, Stefan Kirsch is 12th, but he's stayed out on circuit to try and improve on his lap time. John Newell very sideways all the way around turn 3 there. Really pushing where he can. This is a brand new truck for them this year in the MAN. A new front end, a very square and beefy front end on this truck. Seems to be a little bit squirrely at the moment. Looked like Sasha Lenz had similar behaviour from his truck yesterday as well. Jonathan Andre trying to set a valid time this time round. He's 2nd in the Chrome Championship after day 1. Just 2 points behind Bradley Smith, who is still out there on track. I think he's just staying out there to make sure that he can be out there to respond to any lap times so he doesn't lose out. Christian Ruppert has had a black and orange flag for black smoke. Now, as part of the championship, obviously with how sustainable the series is on the 100% renewable HVO diesel that we run on, we make sure that there is no black smoke emissions from the trucks. And it seems like Christian Ruppert, unfortunately, has been spotted by one of the observers that we have around the track and has been asked to come into the pit lane and sort that out. But as mentioned, all of these trucks run on HVO diesel, 100% renewable fuel source. While people seem to still have it in their minds that truck racing and the industry is a place of black diesel clouds of smoke, that doesn't have to be the case, especially in truck racing as well. It's been a great platform to test out the fuel and use it not just for racing, but obviously prepare it for the industry as well. Jonathan Andre's just gone 12th fastest there. I'm not sure how safe he'll be in that position. Whether anybody will be able to beat that time, you know. we'll keep an eye on that. I think John Newell is definitely a threat for that. So too Luke Garrett. Stefan Kirsch a little bit off the pace at the moment. Christian Ruppert has actually had his time deleted as well. Clemens Hecker now goes 12th fastest. So Hecker moves into... Oh, sorry, no, that wasn't Hecker. It was Garrett going up to 11th. I do apologise. Luke Garrett goes into 11th place then. Clemens Hecker drops down to 12th. Jonathan Andre drops down to 13th out of Q1 with 4 minutes on the clock. And John Newell is on a push now as well. John really pushing this truck. You can definitely tell. John is one of those drivers, when he is pushing, you can see it from the outside of the truck. You can definitely see it. He does not muck about, does John? Doesn't mix his words. He's always a great character to speak to. Lovely bloke, great sense of humour. He's pushing and pushing and pushing. Just inside track limits there, I'd say, from the top of the hill. Down the massive back straight here at Misano through the right-hand kink. And then he'll go flying past this camera position through another right kink and now onto the brakes. The front end of the truck dives down, tucks it in for the first kink. All the way over to the left-hand side, hard on the brakes again, nice and smoothly off the brakes to get it tilted into the hairpin. Look at that, just glancing the area where the little penalty marker was. I say little penalty marker after going on about how huge they were earlier on. Stefan Kirsch across the line. Can he improve on his lap time? It was a 2:07.3 last time for him. 2:08.0 for him this time round. What about John Newell? Newell goes up, but it's only to 13th place. Just missing out on the time that Clemens Hecker has set. Doesn't look like John's going to make it through into Q2. Stefan Kirsch going again. But these trucks, they don't really handle consecutive laps that well. You have to be very, very careful and try and sort of cool them down to get them back out there. Let's go into the paddock or the pit lane and speak to Lena.
And Bradley Smith, we missed him 2 times for an interview yesterday. He took over the truck from Andre Kurzem and he did really, really well in the Chrome class yesterday. Nice qualifying today. I'm glad I get to talk to you finally for a second and a half. It's good to have you, Bradley Smith.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here with new team, so new truck to get used to. So I was happy with yesterday to be on the pace with all the rest of the Chrome drivers. So new day today, new start. So. Hopefully make it through to Q2 and just keep pushing.
I'm always wondering, are you allowed to do as many laps as you want in the first qualifying, or is the team telling you that's enough, it's a nice timing, please come back to the box?
Yeah, they come over on the radio and said it's a good time, pretty comfortable, so hopefully it's enough to come in, save the tyres and push on in Q2.
All right, so you did well to continue the story for the next qualifying part today. So it's only a very short break, so let him go again. I'm very glad to have you in the championship. I know we will get to see you more also without the helmet later on. Just so you know, there's a new youngster, quick guy in the house from Great Britain. Back to you, Chess.
Yeah, Bradley Smith has been proving himself time and time again over in the UK. And he got the opportunity to race in Ollie Jane's truck last season here at Misano. And then after some impressive performances in that machine, he was picked up by Don't Touch Racing. And they were racing in another one of the MANs alongside Andre Kurzem's Iveco. And with Andre parting ways with the team at the end of 2024, then Bradley has taken to the same seat in the Iveco. And he's not really used to the truck again. I spoke to Bradley briefly yesterday afternoon on Facebook, and he said that he was really pleased, considering that he was brand new to that truck, to be up on the pace. He did say that in race 1 there was a few points where he could have maybe stuck his nose down the inside of Mark Taylor in that battle with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, but at the end of the day, it's day 1 of the championship and he wanted to play it safe, and at the end of the day, doing so means that he now leads the Chrome Championship from this man on our screen, Jonathan Andre, truck number 66, the beautiful Lion Truck racing machine. It's a livery and colour combo we've seen in the championship for many years now. previously raced by the wonderful Anthony Janiek, who we so tragically lost a few seasons ago. Jonathan has continued to fly the flag for the team, and he's constantly improving and developing as well. Yesterday was actually his first category win in the Chrome class. We also had another celebration yesterday of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's 100th race in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. So it was a very positive day all round, really. The checkered flag falls, and at the moment it is Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacete, Mark Taylor, Steffi Halm, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Sasha Lenz, Louis Requenco. Requenco's going well, actually, all the way up there in 8th place. René Ryan at 9th, Bradley Smith 10th ahead of Luke Garrett and Clemens Hecker. Those are the drivers that are going through at the moment. The ones currently billed to leave us at the end of this session are John Newell, Jonathan Andre, Stefan Kirsch, Christian Ruppert and Stefan Fass, who has not been out on circuit again with the issues that he had. Just watching now, Jonathan Andre pushing towards the end of this lap. Such a great sector at the final part of this lap, isn't it? It's really, really cool. Looks so high speed in these trucks. It's crazy the capability they have. Like I said yesterday, I was so fortunate to be in the passenger seat with Antonio Albacete at the Nürburgring, and it's amazing the pace they've got. Jonathan Andre does his best lap of the session, but it's only enough to go up into 13th place. He will not go through into Q2. Second place in the championship at the moment in the Chrome class, and he is not making his way into Q2 today. He'll be really disappointed with that, to be fair, after such a great performance yesterday, getting his first class win and another podium out of race 1. He'll be gutted there, really gutted. So the drivers that will not go through are Jonathan Andre, John Newell, who has come into the pits, Stefan Kirsch just behind him, Christian Ruppert after having his time deleted for black smoke, and Stefan Fass, who did not make it out onto the circuit due to the turbo failure that they had this morning. Clemens Hecker, just on the left-hand side of shot there in the number 25, was the one just on the brink, but I know that he and the Hecker team will be very pleased. Some of their engineers there as well. Everybody now just waiting to go out onto the circuit. It was Hans Mollenhoff that we just saw there walking around the truck. Hans, another gentleman with absolute fantastic sense of humour. We raced against each other last season, actually, in the Harama sort of karting competition that they do at the end of the championship. And we had such a laugh out there on the circuit. And off the circuit as well, to be fair. They're a great bunch of people. Now, the number 33, Stefan Kirsch, is under investigation for overspeeding. Now, they had an issue with that yesterday as well and got a 10-second penalty during one of the races. So I wonder if there's an issue with the GPS on their truck. There's the number 42, Luke Garrett, with the Allstone and Fortune tyres branding on the truck. This lovely asymmetrical livery this season, yellow one side, blue on the other. Preparing to head back out onto the track after qualifying in 11th place in Q1. You can see also the Total Energies fifth wheel on there with the shark fin on. One of the many partners that we have here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. They join the likes of, obviously, Goodyear, our title partner, Iveco, Ford, Total Energies themselves, Alcoa Wheels, Krona Trailer, and Yoast, as well as Eurovag this season. One of the new partners to join the series for 2025. It's been great to have such strong partnerships continuing to flourish here in the series. And speaking of Goodyear as well, they've brought basically a new tyre to the championship this year that is made of a 55% sustainable material. The material itself is produced from silica I keep finding worse ways to word this this season. Flipping out, Chaz. It's made of waste rice husk ash. It's really not easy to say that quickly. And carbon black sourced from alternative feedstocks, basically. This underscores Goodyear's ongoing commitment to developing high-performance solutions that meet both competitive and environmental demands. Can you tell that's written down for me? That's the bit that I can seemingly say quite cleanly. But still, it's great to have that the new sustainable material tyre making its racing debut as well. They hope, obviously, for that to become part of the industry as well. Goodyear already retread the tyres when they finish their life in racing. Effectively, the tyres are shipped off to a facility for Goodyear where they are retreaded and repurposed for use on the public roads in the haulage industry as well. And it's a fantastic, well, I was going to say drop in the ocean, but it's obviously a massive thing that Goodyear do. But there's so much sustainability involved in this championship that gives back to the industry. It's one of many things that goes on. It really is impressive. As you can see, the crowds are out in force here on Sunday. Often is the case that we get a few more fans on the Sundays than we do on the Saturdays in most forms of motorsport. Often Saturday is qualifying day and Sunday is race day. But for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, every day is a party. We have qualifying and 2 races on every single race day. Lisa Garrett has just messaged me saying that they've snapped a front shock absorber. There's been a few drivers saying that they've had issues with the suspension over the curbs here at Misano, and that is not a quick fix. That really is not a quick fix. I thought for a moment there I saw Bradley Smith's dad on the infield near the grandstand on the right hand side in the Don't Touch Racing shirt. There's some of the show trucks down there in the paddock. See a Volvo badge on the right hand side there. It'd be lovely to get a Volvo or two in the championship, wouldn't it? There is a racing spec Volvo FH around somewhere in the truck racing world. So I believe, with the information just received from Lisa, that they will not be out in Q2 because these trucks depend highly on that suspension. We're going to quickly go back into the pit lane while the trucks begin their warm-up laps. Sam, we'll go and see what Lena's up to, shall we?
Yeah, Chas just said every day is a party, but in motorsport sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And in this case, Chanul, who's teaming up with Sasha Lenz, they totally built up a new truck. Also, like with new settings and everything. And sometimes you win and sometimes you just need to work more on it. So now I get to talk to him. I was like, what a shame. I just meant to talk to myself a little bit. I'm very happy you're taking the time. Yeah. I just said, you have to adjust the setting, or what's the difficulty for now?
Yeah, it just feels completely alien at the minute. Everything, slight little change just throws it out even further, and it's just difficult to get it anywhere near at the moment. But we'll just keep persevering and see how we can get on.
But you can become king of drifting. I saw you're drifting a lot in the corners, so maybe you should change the discipline and just go over to some truck drifting.
Yeah, I think so. I think we must be building a truck for drifting instead of racing. But we'll get it right. It won't take too long.
Yeah, you have a nice partner on your side, Sasha Lenz. You both ended up on 3rd place yesterday in your categories. So I really hope the best for you because you're both strong drivers. I know you have a very strong mindset. So I know you will not stand still and you will make sure you come back stronger.
Yeah, definitely. We've just got to put up with it for here in Lausitz's ring, and then after that we get a little break, so we should have some time to bring it a little bit further forward.
All right, thank you so much. So now we know what's going on with number 18, and come with me, Steffen Faas. They're still over there working on the Freightliner. Top Gun it is. If you don't know why, you might know once you get to see the truck in a finished build. And I also like all the securities that are hanging out over here at Steffen Faas. A lot of strong men. This is like for the women out there who are watching motorsports. You just snap your finger, the door opens, you're allowed to enter. See, this is how the story goes. And look, they have such a nice setup and they're still so busy with the truck. But it looks like they're getting somewhere. And Steffen also is not sitting, just watching his guys work. He also really worked along. new turbos it is, and I think a couple of other things. So I think I will get to see you later on with washed hands and a helmet on your face, right?
Schauen wir mal, ob das so wird.
Okay.
Geben wir alles.
Well, how much testing did you actually have with the new truck?
Ja, wir haben Ende November angefangen, den Motor zu entwickeln und haben erst anfangen können zu testen. Im Endeffekt Anfang April waren wir das erste Mal fahren und dann haben wir halt eins nach dem anderen ausgemerzt und jetzt haben wir halt so, jetzt kommen wir quasi in die kritische Zone, weil ich sag mal, wir sind so bei 900 bis 1000 PS und jetzt kommen wir genau dahin, wo die eigentlich es immer kleiner wird, ja, und
Okay, so they developed the engine in November. They started testing in April, and first you have all like these little baby diseases. You just get them out of the system, and now he's in between 190 and 1,000 horsepower. So he said, this is where you really have to start working on the tiny bits and pieces. It's a lot of power today. The turbo wasn't working along. So yeah, he really, of course, hopes he will come back to the track. And this is when you develop. Some people, like the big brands, they have a lot of testing before they even show up in the races. If you are like a family business, or like you said, you have little time, you have to deal with what you get, and in this case it's a little more work. But I really cross my fingers. Look at the truck, it's so nice. And just my last word over here before I let you go again. Why did you choose Top Gun and the Freightliner?
ja, das hat mich schon immer begeistert und ich wollte es einfach dem Auto ein Motto geben und das haben wir so mitgemacht.
Okay, so he really has been a fan of Top Gun, of the Freightliner. It's a Mercedes engine inside, so you also have a nice partner by your side, and this is why they built it, and we get to see a race later on. Thank you so much, Chess. Back to you.
Thank you, Lena. Fantastic insight there. You've got to love the supreme confidence from John Newell. He really doesn't mix his words, like I said earlier. And you can see as well, Stefan Faas clearly very dejected after the issues that they had through qualifying both races yesterday, and now qualifying and warm-up both completely levelled for them today as well. It really is disappointing, but, you know, they've got this new truck and not as much time as some of the teams have, so they've developed what they can, and now it's just a case of development while they're on the road. And like John said there about him and Sasha and their teams as well, obviously there's a break after the double header to start the season. We're at the Lausitz ring in just a week's time, and then after that there's a larger break before the third race meeting of the season at the Slovakia ring. So the teams will reconvene and obviously work on the trucks between now and then and make more major setup changes before the next race meeting. At the moment, it's Jochen Hahn fastest in qualifying 2 from Norbert Kish, Sascha Lenz third, Antonio Albacete fourth, then it's Mark Taylor, René Reiner, and Steffi Halm is currently in 7th position. She's just bolted ahead of the other drivers for a moment there to try and get some clean air on the circuit and maybe go for another fast lap. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is doing the same thing. He's in 8th position at the moment. Bradley Smith is 9th ahead of Louis Requenco and then Clemens Hecker. The important positions here are the top 6. The top 6 drivers go through into the next session. Steffi Halm is only 44 thousandths of a second, which is ironically her race number, off the back of René Reiner. And I'm sure she will be hoping to get into that Q3 after taking an overall podium yesterday. She was over the moon with that. Very first race of the season, and she took a podium. She was 4th in race 2 as well, just behind Sascha Lenz. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez yesterday had a 7th place and a 5th place, so not a bad day at the office at all. He's moved up into the Titan category this year after having such a successful 2024 in the Chrome class, taking the championship there considerably. But he's an amazing talent, is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He is a driver that never holds back, always pushing and always doing his very best. And we're about to see that now as he goes for another hot lap. 2 3/4 minutes left to go here in qualifying 2 at Misano in the 2025 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we see Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in the MAN, driven this season for the Rabo Racing Truck Team. Lovely, lovely livery on their truck. They've been synonymous with the blue, white and red liveries for a long time now. His father, Jose Rodriguez, raced in these liveries as well. Jose Eduardo coming as part of a third generation of this family of truck racers. They made history by all being on the circuit at the same time many years ago. In Jarama 2016, that was. He raced with his dad and his granddad on the circuit, all three of them on circuit at the same time. So the grandfather was Eduardo Rodriguez, then Jose Rodriguez, and now the son is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. So as you can imagine, as a commentator, it's not an enviable position to be in, to commentating all three at the same time, but an epic thing to see, having all three generations on track at once. Not sure there's many other times in any form of motorsport that that's ever happened either. Be interested to hear if there definitely was. At the moment, though, it's Jochen Hahn, Norbert Kisch, Sascha Lenz, Antonio Albacete, Mark Taylor and René Reinert going through into Q3. Mark Taylor is on an absolute mission. His pace at the start of this season has been phenomenal. That new MAN that they've rebuilt over winter has just been a rocket. And it certainly has the rest of the Chrome category drivers quaking in their boots. Bradley Smith may lead the championship at the moment and has had a fantastic start to the season himself. Same with Jonathan Andre. But Mark Taylor retiring from the second race yesterday definitely helped those guys. He started on pole position, did Mark, as well. He's certainly showing incredible pace. Let's see what Jose Eduardo Rodriguez can do. It's a 2:03.460. It's almost an identical lap time for him that time round. What about Steffi Halm? She goes up into position. Steffi moves up and goes into Q3 with that lap time. I don't think that Mark Taylor or anyone else are out on the circuit. Mark Taylor is in 6th place, though, so he can happily wait, I think. Louis Requenco has actually just moved ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well. Requenco's just gone 8th fastest. Louis in his new Iveco is certainly on a mission as well. Checkered flag comes out then in qualifying 2. I don't think there was anyone else on an improvement lap. It looked like Antonio Albacete was still out on the circuit as well, just in case. So too was Bradley Smith, so too were Clemens Hecker. I think some of them just making sure they held their ground. Clemens Hecker did improve on his lap time, but it wasn't enough to move up another position. He'll still be pretty happy with 11th place, I imagine. He's ahead of a number of the Chrome class drivers. There's Antonio Albacete, maybe just using the little bit of time at the end of the session to just get some more laps under his belt. I mean, it's not like Antonio needs them. He's got one of the longest racing careers of anybody we know. But at the same time, the truck is still quite new to T-Sport Bernau. It's a newly built race truck for this year. As many of them are, actually. A lot of these trucks have been rebuilt completely from the ground up over winter. It's one of the biggest overhauls from the end of one season to the beginning of another that we've seen in many years in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Loads of drivers moving from one team to the next, having new liveries, brand new trucks, even changing manufacturers. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is going to complete one more lap here, and he tries his very best, and it's 4/10 off his best. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez not able to find the pace during that lap there, and he goes 9th. There is Bradley Smith. He makes his way around now into the pit lane. 1.9 seconds off for Bradley, but you know what? He'll be happy to be in 10th place, a top 10 for the Iveco. And now already the rest of the trucks are lining up at the end of the pit lane to prepare for Q3. It's not a long session, is Q3. And there is Clemens Hecker, just finishing that session in 11th place. Steffi Halm, she'll be really pleased to have made it into Q3, but obviously the caveat to that is that she was out quite late in that session, still setting fast lap times, so the truck hasn't had as long to sit in the pit lane and cool down before she heads back out on track. After day one of the championship, we find Steffi Halm third in the standings, 5 points clear of Sascha Lenz, 6 points clear of René Reiner. There's another driver that will be heading back out on the circuit in just a moment's time as well, Antonio Albacete. Really do love the look of that truck this year. Great looking machine with the mainly dark blue livery. Dark blue colour synonymous with T-Sport Bernau over the last few years, but it's usually a predominantly white truck with the dark blue design on it. But Tim Frost and his squad doing a great job to give us another beautifully presented racing machine. Steffi just has a quick debrief with the team after Q2. And then we'll prepare to head back out. There is one of the mammoth engines on these machines. You can tell that it's an Iveco because the turbocharger is on the left-hand side of the Ivecos. And I believe on the MANs it's always on the right-hand side. I think it's the same with the Scanias as well. It's always on the right. Just have a look at Norbert Kisch's truck there, actually. Let's see if we see the engine. Yeah, look, you can see the boost pipe is on the right-hand side of the engine on the MAN. Always on the left on the Ivecos. Not sure what benefit that is or whether it makes a difference from one to the next, but just an interesting observation. You can see the reflection of Sascha Lenz's truck there in the windscreen of Antonio Albacete, while we look at Antonio himself in that gorgeous MAN. Again, another fantastic livery with the yellow and red flashes, of course, a nod to the Spanish driver himself. Antonio, a bit of a legend to say the least. He's been in motorsport for a mighty, mighty long time, and we love him for it. He's won 3 European Truck Racing Championship titles. This is his 28th race. His 28th year of racing. We're going to quickly go back down to Lena.
And Diana Hahn, the wife of Jochen Hahn, very strong family in race business for 100 years, it feels like. Very, very long time.
25 years now.
See, and everyone loves you. You have so many fans. And one question that everyone is asking, will Lucas come back this year?
Lucas will drive at the Nürburgring and in Jarama, and maybe he drive next year the full season, or in 2 years, we don't know.
And we were all counting because Steffi, she had her own truck. Jochen, he has his old truck. Now he has a new truck. Lucas also had a truck. So you have 4 trucks in the house, 2 of which are a little older and 2 of which are a little newer, right?
No, we have 3 trucks. We have one for Jochen, one for Steffi, and 4 trucks. We have 1 show truck, that's true. And maybe we have a race-by-race driver in this year. We will see.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on over there. How happy were you with yesterday's result? I know you're fighting for the 7th time European champion, and you're very, very close to it.
Yeah, we are close to Norbert, and now we will see what's going on in the qualifying. And yeah, Jochen have a small mistake in the first corner, and from this side he became a 5-second penalty. And yeah, we are on the 2nd position, and we are very happy, and we hope we can fight today for the podium again.
Qualifying looks very good so far, so I let you do your job. Thank you so much for taking the time for a second. Hahn, follow Hahn Racing, okay?
Diana Hahn, an absolute star of the paddock indeed. Wife of Jochen, and a fantastic spearhead of that great attack that Hahn Racing have on this championship. And like she said, you know, they love what they do, and they have a force of trucks available to them. And it's great that we will see Lucas again this season. Lucas is another real character to have in the paddock. A lovely, lovely guy. He is always out there as well. He is always supporting as part of the teams. It's just that he's not always racing, basically. But now the trucks make their way out onto the circuit in this very short Q3 session. And we wait now to see just who can set the fastest time in this session. We'll have to see whether it can be Jochen Hahn again, now that they are on the same circuit for this time round. And another little bit of news as well. I was just searching for it just to see how sort of confirmed it was. But obviously with testing Steffi Halm's truck earlier in the season was Martin Macic, who is a 2-time Dakar rally winner. He's going to be making his truck racing debut at the Czech Truck Prix. He's been on the grid in Czechia, in Most, for the last few seasons now. We've seen him there a couple of times and he loves the truck racing. And now he wants to come back and enjoy it for himself. So he will be racing with us at Most. I believe he will be in what is effectively Lucas Hahn's truck now. So like Diana said there, a race-by-race entry effectively will be Martin Macic. It'll be wonderful to see how he gets on. But here is team boss Jochen Hahn making his way around the circuit now through turn 3, hard onto the brakes into turn 4, hoping to take his second pole position of the season. Norbert Kisch will, to be honest, just be happy to be out in Q3 after yesterday. They had an issue with the steering that meant that he couldn't take part in qualifying on Saturday. And we could clearly see as well, he was very dejected by that as well. He was really disappointed to not get the season off to a good start. But what a recovery drive he did in the afternoon. He and the team really rallied together to put on a typically Revèche performance, didn't they? They absolutely flattened the order. It was a great, great drive through in both races by Norby. And very clean as well, that's the thing. You know, you often see, if there's ever a form of dominance in motorsport from a driver, there's a caveat that comes with that, you know, they're really fast, but at the same time, you know, there's a bit of contact here and there, or they're a little bit messy in going through. Norby never shows us that. Norby is so fast at getting through the order, but doing it so cleanly at the same time as well, you know, and the team and he himself have such respect from their competitors for what they do, and from spectators and fans all around the world as well. It's just a marvel to see this level of performance at the top end of an order. But even the other competitors on the field as well, you know, they all see it and they go, wow, we need to get to that level. You know, they don't all stand back and, you know, shout witchcraft with torches and pitchforks and claim cheating or anything. They all see it and they go, wow, fair play. I wish we were that good, you know, and they work towards it. It's a great yardstick. Around the final corner they go then, after my Norbert Kisch ramblings. Jochen Hahn, 2:01.8, he goes fastest, and Norbert Kisch beats him by just over a quarter of a second. Third place goes Antonio Albacete. Steffi Halm goes fourth quickest there. Some of them have crossed the line with enough time to get another lap on the board. I wonder whether they will. Mark Taylor ends up in fifth place. What about Sasha Lenz? What about Sasha? He was half a second quicker in the first sector than Mark Taylor, but a tenth slower in sector 2. He doesn't seem to have crossed the line yet as Sasha Lenz. Norbert Kisch and Steffi Halm both backing out of their lap. Mark Taylor, by the look of it, pushing on to go again. I think Sasha Lenz has crossed the line, but I think there was, for some reason, his time got deleted. Antonio Albacete was just going past him there onto the back straight, and I don't know whether he's been held up slightly. Antonio third at the moment, and yeah, he's backed off as Antonio. And he now sits behind Sasha on the circuit. And it looks to me, has Mark backed out of that lap as well? It was hard to tell as he got on the brakes there. Yes, he's backed out at that time. So interestingly, Sasha Lenz's time, I think it might have been deleted for track limits actually. I'm just checking the messages from race control. Yes, penalty marker in turn 6. He was under investigation for it. And then it was deleted. So that means then that Norbert Kisch takes pole position. Jochen Hahn alongside him on the front row. Just over a quarter of a second back. And then Antonio Albacete and Steffi Halm making up the next row of the grid. Mark Taylor will start from 5th place overall. He'll be buzzing with that one. He's the only chrome driver to make it through. The Titan and Chrome categories, effectively, think of it as like Pro and Am, basically. That's the designation you may have recognised or sort of attributed it to before. And the Titan drivers have all succeeded to a certain extent in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship before. And everybody now making their way around into the pit lane. I don't think that Marshall's going to have too much more work to do in this session when it comes to waving any flags. Nobody else continuing on a fast lap. So Norbert Kish back to pole position ways for him. He'll be really pleased with that after yesterday's issue. Sasha Lenz will not be too chuffed with that one. 6th place for him. He goes all the way to the end of the pit lane to then swoop around into the paddock. And as you can see, everybody now packing away, taking everything in from the pit lane. Antonio Albacetti heads into scrutineering. Mark Taylor just pulling over into the pit lane there. I think some of his team will wait for him to go through scrutineering as well. Into the pits also now comes Jochen Hahn and then Norbert Kish as well. Steffi Helm in there too. Steffi having a very confidence-building start to the championship. I think she missed out on Q3 a couple of times last season, but she's turned that around here with 2 strong performances so far. Like I said, her first podium of the season overall was in race 1 yesterday. It was great to see that performance straight out of the blocks for the number 44 Iveco. And once again, we have Norbert Kish and Jochen Hahn on the front row. That is all the on-track action we have for qualifying here this morning then on Sunday in Misano for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We're going to have a look at the results just before we go. And that's not yours, son. Thank you. I think maybe some of the sandbags needed moving or something. Still a bit of cloud lingering over the circuit there, as you can see, actually. I'm being told that the delay on the graphics is all Patrick's fault, our graphics guy. He's a bit slow on the ball today. He said to me earlier he was a bit late bringing up the HVO graphic when I mentioned the diesel. He'll have to have a slap on the wrist or something. No slap on the wrists, though, for Norbert Kish as he takes pole position for the first time this season ahead of Jochen Hahn with Antonio Albacetti and Steffi Helm on row 2. Mark Taylor is 5th ahead of Sasha Lenz, who had his time deleted. Then it's René Reiner alongside Louis Requenco. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Bradley Smith make up a very interesting row 5 to complete the top 10. Then it's Clemens Hecker alongside Luke Garrett. A real shame we didn't see Luke out in Q2 due to that broken shock. And then Jonathan Andre alongside John Newell. Stefan Kirsch will start from 15th place. Christian Ruppert had his lap time deleted, and Stefan Faas did not make it out onto the circuit. And now I'm going to hand back down to Lena for some final words then to end our qualifying broadcast here this morning, and I'll speak to you a little bit later on this afternoon.
The lucky frog in the race, not Mark Taylor, but the one that's driving with you. You really have a very strong appearance over here this weekend. It really seems like a lot of stuff's changed to the good and better. And I was like, why is he still driving in Chrome class? I think you can head for Titan now with those results.
Yeah, we want to start the season how we finished off in Yarama. So with everybody working hard on the truck or the team, we want to come back and make a strong go of 2025.
And you're doing well. Did you change a lot on the truck, or is it more than less as is last year?
Basically, just same as last year. We don't like to change too much because the truck is running so well. No point in changing.
Okay, also the frog seems to do his job in there. So did you put it in yourself or did someone else?
No, it's for my little son at home. So when he watches on telly, you can see the frog in the background.
That's very cute. So good luck to you. Scrutineering it is for now. They're rechecking on the truck, and I can't wait to see you on the racetrack later on. 1:10 it is. We are back, of course, for race number 3 of this weekend. So bear with us. Have a quick coffee, and then I see you again in Misano, Italy. Bye-bye.